Hi, it's Evan and welcome to video number 3, my third Ante Post Selection video for the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. In this short series, I've been putting up a single selection, a single horse for a single race, a horse that I believe has a great chance of winning or at current prices offers great value. I will be looking to do a full festival analysis where I look at every single race at the festival and put up a selection and my thoughts behind that race. But we'll park that for now. We'll do that close to the festival, and this video is going to stay on trend with previous videos, just that single selection. Just a recap of who we've put up so far. In week 1, put up Queen's Gamble at 8-1 for the Champion Bumper. In week 2, we went rogue. We put up Dark Raven at a price of 33-1 for the Ballymore. This week, I'm playing it a bit safer and going for a banker, a horse that I really believe has a great shot at winning at the festival. Come on to that in a second. I did want to find a horse who was running at the Dublin Racing Festival this weekend. A horse that I believed would therefore shorten in value after a good run this weekend. But it's not really one that I can find. I mean, I like horses like Darksight Dynamo. I like Mighty Potter for the Turners at Cheltenham. But both of those are in and around that kind of 3-1 price point at the moment for the Cheltenham Festival. So I don't know if there really is too much value in those prices. I also like Lossymouth, but she's currently odds on for this weekend and about evens for the Cheltenham Festival, so not much value there. But back to the market in question. The market I'm looking at this week is the Stayers Hurdle market, a market that I have spoken about quite a bit on Twitter. It's a wide open market. It's a market where the favourite has changed a lot as we've come out of the last festival, and Flooring Porter was favourite. Then there was a lot of Twitter hype around Blazing Carl, and he was favourite. Then Home by the Lee was favourite for a bit. Then after last week, Tiupu is now the current favourite. But a wide open market. And as I said, my third selection is a banker pick, a horse that I believe will take all the beating at the Cheltenham Festival. And that horse is Home by the Lee, currently priced at 9-2 for the Stayers Hurdle. Now, to articulate why I believe Home by the Lee is the best pick for this race, I want to start by looking at the current field and looking at the Sky Bet odds for the market. So if I open this up, we're then going to look at the Ante Post market. Sky Bet are now offering non-runner no bet or a non-runner no bet market, which kind of opens up a different conversation depending on whether you look at that or the Ante Post market. So let's stick to the Ante Post market, as that's what we've looked at in previous videos. And in all honesty, with Home by the Lee, probably offers the most value because this is clearly going to be the target for him. So only an injury rules him out. From what was looking like a condensed field, it is starting to look like a 2-horse race at the top of the market. Tiupu heads it at 11-4, so let's tackle him first. He is, well, him and St Sam are the young horses who are in this kind of 20-1 bracket, both in their 6-year-old season. So Tiupu is the young horse with that scope for progression. In December, it was the Hatton's Grace over 2 mile 4. He was very impressive when he beat the unbeaten, or was unbeaten then, Honeysuckle. But that came on soft ground, and wherever you look, whether it's articles or Twitter posts, you'll see everyone saying that this horse needs either soft or heavy ground to win. I'm not speculating one way or the other. I have no idea how ground dependent he is. But when a lot of people raise the point, it's certainly worth noting, I would say. I mean, he may well get soft or heavy ground at Cheltenham, who knows? But anyway, on his most recent start was up to the 3 mile distance, again on soft ground, and he won. So that means he stays the trip, right? Well, I don't know how true that is necessarily. I was actually listening to Chelt Mental's latest video on my walk this morning with Dave and Daryl, and they were talking about how slowly run that race was, especially the first circuit, and how that time was the same as the maiden hurdle on the day, and how those time figures suggest that his stamina hasn't yet been proven. Now, couple that with, I think it was Andrew Halligan on the Finishing Line podcast, and he was talking about how Tiupu completely stopped dead after crossing the finish line. To me, all of that suggests that he didn't really test his stamina, and certainly not in the way a truly run stayers at the festival would. So I'm not saying he won't win, because he could be great. But at 11-4, with the ground and trip concerns still both hanging over him, he's not a prize for me. So as we look down the market, Blazing Carl next, well, there's massive doubts and question marks over him. Marie's Rock is still favourite for the Mayor's Hurdle, so, you know, most likely that she goes there. Gold Tweet, won at the weekend, isn't even supplemented yet to go to this race if he wanted to, but arguably beat nothing at the weekend. And I know Paisley Park fans are not going to be delighted with that comment, but there was absolutely no chance Paisley Park wins at the festival this year. I think I was reading a stat the other day that since, I think it was 1927, a horse over the age of 9 has only won this race once. Now, that's what, 96 years, and Paisley Park is in his 11-year-old season. So I think it's fair to say the chances of that were relatively low. He's out to 20-1 now. Flooring Porter at 10-1, again, question marks over him. Will he be at the festival or not? Ashdale Bob I'll come on to in a second when I talk about Home by the Lee. Classical Dream, again, question marks. Will he make the festival or not? And then we're up into kind of that 16, 20 plus bracket. So there's, you know, lots of question marks over pretty much every horse in the race. And that therefore makes it a 2-horse race. And I've spoken about Tiupu, so let me explain why I think Home by the Lee has a great shout to win this race. Now, he ran in this race last year and finished 6th, about 7 lengths behind Flooring Porter. And I watched that race back recently, and he's off the bridle before they even get to the top of the hill. When you watch Flooring Porter come up the hill at the end of the race, he's not even in camera shot. But as Flooring Porter hits that finishing post, you see Home by the Lee there, staying on, and like I say, finishes about 7 lengths behind Flooring Porter. I think it's fair to say he's drastically improved this season. The Navan race in November over 2 Mile 4, he was up against a lot of his Stayers Hurdle rivals at the time, should I say. Sorry, Bob Ollinger. But those kind of rivals, Bob Ollinger, obviously Flooring Porter, Ashdale Bob, Cider Burley, Zanahir was in that race as well. And he won it really nicely. I think at that point he then moved to 20-1 in the Stayers market. But he backed that up again over 3 miles, Leopardstown it was in December, and again beat Flooring Porter, beat a lot of those rivals, beat Ashdale Bob. He travelled really well in that race. He stayed well. He actually came off the bridle before Ashdale Bob. And Ashdale Bob travelled really nicely. Looked like maybe the winner as they were coming around the corner. But then Home by the Lee showed his quality, went away to win nicely. I think putting those 2 runs together, and sorry, I should say then moved into 4-1 favouritism at the time. But putting those 2 runs together, I think he looks like the best horse in the race. I think based on his form last year and the improvement we've seen this year, as I've just explained, and the fact that there's so many question marks around those other horses in this race, I think 9-2 is still very good value for a horse who I think has a great shot at winning this race. So there it is. Third Ante Post Selection is Home by the Lee at 9-2 for the Stayers Hurdle. If you've liked this video, please do subscribe to my channel. Please like the video, please comment on the video. It all really helps me. And I'll see you again soon for my 4th selection.